So my first question is, what does brotherhood mean to you?
Brotherhood to me is a bond deeper than any organization can give. It's where you learn your brother's hopes, dreams, fears, what guides you to what's important. And on the surface, it looks like knuckleheads just having fun. But if you look deeper, all that fun is where bonds are being made that really shape your future.
As you have said before, brotherhood is a deeper bond than organization. How, as brotherhood chair, can you ensure that these bonds of brotherhood are created?
Well, quite frankly, I can't ensure that these bonds are formed, but there's a lot of stuff I can do to create more opportunities for these bonds.
Over the semester, how have you developed the brotherhoods to reach these goals that you've spoken of?
Over the semester, I increased the amount of brotherhoods, but it really went more than that. I made the first part of the semester really icebreaker type activities to create and influence new bonds with other brothers. And then I slowly upped to group activities, and then I increased to very deep, meaningful brotherhoods.
You mentioned icebreaker activities. Can you give me an example of how you ran that brotherhood?
So the first icebreaker activity that I did was Secret Sin. While everybody thought it was randomized, I specifically chose brothers that weren't as active or didn't talk to certain brothers as much to be pairs to make that first intro connection, kind of like a forced connection. And then I moved into Eclipse Assassin. That was so that brothers would start learning each other when they're available, when they're not available.
So, you mentioned that you broke it into 3 categories: icebreakers, competitiveness, and emotional ties. How did you develop the competitiveness and emotional ties into your brotherhood?
For the competitive aspect, I made the Big Little Pong tournament so that the Big Littles could further their connections faster, more in depth. And the competitive edge on a bracket style tournament draws all kinds of brothers, because not only are you relying on yourself, but you're relying on your big and your little. For the emotional aspect, I increased intensity throughout the semester, and a lot of this isn't captured on film. It's not supposed to be, but a specific example of this would be during the karaoke brotherhood. On the surface, it just seems like brothers singing, having a good time, but really it's giving brothers a chance that don't normally get out there in front of everybody, a platform and a less intensive setting to grow. I also had a timeline going in the background of one positive and one negative defining moment in your life. In between songs, I would read these, and if the person was comfortable with talking about that event, they could come up. And those are parts like you can't capture on film. They're not meant to be.
At the beginning of this interview, you mentioned that you wanted to create more consistent brotherhoods. Overall, at the end of the semester, how many brotherhoods did your chapter complete?
Our chapter completed 12 official brotherhoods.
At the beginning of this semester, you had specific goals that you wanted to complete. At the end of your chair position, do you believe you completed these goals?
At the beginning of the semester, I had 3 initial goals. First was to have 2 brotherhoods a month at minimum, and we well achieved over that. My next goal was to increase the number of interfraternal bonds that our brothers have with each other, make it more diverse and spread out. And my third goal was to emphasize the planning process of these brotherhoods to achieve the meaning behind what I define brotherhood. I would say we were very successful. I've seen people talking to each other that I never thought would. I see brothers running for chair positions, wanting to be involved in the chapter. I can't say this is all from brotherhoods, but I think it has a lot to do with the true value brotherhood brings.